Thank you for taking time out with Premier Sports Officials Association. Sean Johnston here from Omaha, Nebraska. This week's basketball training tape will be on the topic out of bounds. We put a poll out there last week of what would officials and subscribers like more, multiple clips on multiple plays or one topic. And the polls came back as 80% said one topic at a time. So with this week, this is, I believe, the hardest call in basketball to make because of the timing, the proximity, and the situations where so many players are located on the court at one spot. So we're going to try to break it down by rule, give you some case plays, the mechanics of once we have an out-of-bounds play. We will have some picture examples, and then I went through the Arizona-Duke game that was played last week, and I have 6 video clips. And then at the very end, some special plays to go over some myths that we have as basketball officials. So we hope you enjoy this basketball training tape. At the end, I'll also ask to leave comments and questions on any of the plays and future topics you would like us to focus on in the upcoming weeks. With no further ado, let's start with out-of-bounds rule. So Rule 9.3 in the NFHS rulebook is where you're going to find this. It's pretty simple rule, and there's one rule change for the 2023 season. So a player shall not cause the ball to go out of bounds. So that's what we're doing as an official. We are figuring out which player is responsible for that ball to go out of bounds. A player shall not be out of bounds when a player touches or is touched by the ball after it has been released on a throw-in pass. All right, so I know we have a picture of an example of this on a throw-in pass and then some special plays to illustrate this rule. And then a rule change from this year. A player shall not step out of bounds under the player's own volition and then become the first player to touch the ball after returning to the playing court. All right, so this is a player going around a double screen, a player doing a wide roundabout to get their foot squared up, point square, and shoot. But if they go out of bounds, they cannot be the first player to touch it inbounds. If they do, violation. So some case plays. A1 is dribbling the ball near the sideline, end line, or baseline. So an out of bounds boundary line. In between dribbles, but not while touching the ball, the dribbler steps out of bounds, then continues to dribble. The ruling is this is out of bounds by A1. Team B will get the ball at the spot nearest the violation in front court or back court. So for out-of-bounds plays, the new rule of the 4 designated spots is not in play here. Out of bounds will be at the spot nearest the violation, but if a dribbler in between dribbles steps out of bounds, the moment they step out of bounds, a violation has occurred. Dribblers must remain in bounds in between dribbles during the dribble the entire time. Case play number 2. A1 and A2 set a double screen for A3. A3 goes out of bounds to get around the screen, and in the first example, catches a pass from A4 or does not touch the ball until A4 passes it to another teammate. In A, this is out of bounds violation. Once A3 is the first player to touch the ball, Team B will have the spot nearest the violation. In B, since they're not the first one to touch it, play on. This is a legal play. The offense did not gain an advantage by A3 going out of bounds. They did not use A3 on this play. So that is why the rule change is the way it is. It's that advantage-disadvantage style of officiating. And the rule now backs up that style of officiating. Third case play, A1 has the ball for a throw-in. A1 releases the ball, deflected by B1. Then A1 catches the ball while standing out of bounds. This is out of bounds by A1, as A1 is touching the ball while being an out of bounds player. So many times people think it's B who put that ball out of bounds, but not by rule. Any player out of bounds who touches the ball is responsible for that ball now to be out of bounds. Let's take a look at some mechanics. All right, this is a clear 3-step process. Those new basketball officials that started officiating basketball these past few weeks, it's like we use the example of it's not easy to chew gum and walk the very first time you do it. It's not easy to do this 3-step process the first time you officiate basketball. It takes practice, practice, practice. So the first thing we have to do, we have to blow our whistle loud, get everybody's attention in the gym. As we do that, the first thing people are going to see is this raised arm above the head with an open palm. So now we have a violation. So now we got to communicate what type of violation it is. And how we're going to communicate that is we are going to say the team color whose ball it will be. So open hand, whistle, white. And as we say white, we are pointing with the same arm the direction white will be going. If it's blue ball, you're going to raise your arm, blow your whistle, yell blue in the direction blue is going. If a story is needed, as in people don't know why it is white's ball or blue's ball, now tell the story. So white, off blue 30's foot. Blue, hit off white 20. Tell the story if needed, but that has to be second because people have to know whose ball it is first. And then the last process is we have to indicate point of resumption. Is it going to be on the sideline? Is it going to be on the baseline? Is it going to be on the end line? It's very important, especially when in the front court, coaches have different play calls for baseline out of bounds, sideline out of bounds. Defensive coaches might have different presses they call if it's an end line out of bounds or sideline out of bounds. Be very particular and almost perfect on this point of resumption, as it does make a difference on what offensive play the coach is going to call and what defense the coach is going to set up if it's an important part of the game. And if you don't do this every time, when it does matter, you're not going to do it, and it's going to cause frustration because of the lack of communication. So how to practice this? We said this in preseason meetings. Watch a game. Be in front of the TV. When that ball goes out of bounds, blow your whistle, raise your arm high in the air. Point the color in which you think that ball should go to, and then see if you are matching the judgment of the officials on the television screen. So out of bounds examples. All right, so this is an example of the player who is out of bounds contacting the basketball. All right, so you have number 30 giving the ball to the teammate. This teammate who's going to get the ball must be completely out of bounds to inbound this ball. All right, so a player throwing the ball in must be completely out of bounds before they throw that ball in. Let's say this inbounder thrower is completely out of bounds and just hands the ball to the teammate over the playing court. Result, violation, out of bounds. All right, so for teammate thrower to inbound it to the teammate who's in bounds, thrower must be completely out of bounds, teammate must be completely in bounds, and they cannot do a hand-to-hand pass. They have to roll it or throw an airborne pass to the teammate. Officials, notice the positioning of this official here. You do not want to be on the playing court like this as a trail official. Trail means trail. You want to stay out of bounds, completely out of bounds, trailing the play until that ball has been clearly inbounded. This is going to be a tough play. Okay? Number 3 has the ball. It is not out of bounds yet because she is not on the playing court. If she lands her left foot it's out of bounds on white. If she's able to throw it off of this black jersey player, now depending on the deflection of that ball hitting off this black jersey player will determine who it went out of bounds on. So though yes, number 3 threw it, if it deflects off of this player, which then goes out of bounds, it will be off of black because it was the last player to touch the basketball prior to it being going out of bounds. So once again, if her foot lands before releasing it, out of bounds white, we are going to blow our whistle, raise our hand, say black, and point the direction in which black is going. If she's able to throw it off of the black player, deflected out of bounds, we're going to raise our hand, blow our whistle, yell white, then point the direction in which the direction white will be going with the same arm. Here's an example of a player touching out of bounds with the ball. Okay, so this is out of bounds. We have a player in possession of the ball or touching the ball and is out of bounds. So we're going to raise our hand, blow our whistle, say white, and point the direction in which white is going. A little caveat here. Let's say this is not an out of bounds play. If this player's laying on his back, once he sits up in an attempt to get up, and sitting up is an attempt to get up, we would have a traveling violation. If this player tried to roll, so let's say he was on his back and he tried to roll left or roll right, that is a travel. Once a player's laying on the ground, either on the belly or their back, once they roll or attempt to get up, it is a traveling call. So now what we're going to do is I have 6 plays queued up from the Duke-Arizona game to take a look at some easy out-of-bounds calls and some hard out-of-bounds calls mixed in with some philosophies. So this is going to be a pass play. Nice, simple pass from one teammate to the other teammate. You'd think this is a super easy out-of-bounds call, but take a look. We have this official pointing. Why? And let me explain why. Primary coverage areas. This is a 2 official play on a simple out-of-bounds call. So we have what's going to be the trail official watching this matchup because the ball's in their area. We have this official who's going to be the C is going to be watching the players in his area. So this is importance of raising your hand, stopping the clock, timing. So since the ball did not come from this official's area, look at his eyes. His eyes are not looking at that ball whatsoever. He has no idea. Did this defender tip it? Did this offensive teammate touch it? No idea. So once that ball goes out of bounds, violation. Raise your hand. If you need help, yell help, look at your partner. This partner is very well aware of crew awareness. He knew his partner was not looking at it. So he points in favor of white. All right. These guys are really good on this game. At our level, we do not want to pass up mechanics. All right, so call an official. You see the violation, ball is out of bounds. Raise your hand, blow your whistle. If you need help, look across the court, help. Now you as a helping partner can point white. All right, so this is a simple out of bounds call, but if done incorrectly, it could create a mess. All right, let the calling official who sees the ball go out of bounds blow their whistle, raise their hand. If you need help, ask for help. Once they ask for help, own the call, point white. All right, so out of bounds rule, the Arizona player was the last one to touch it and force the ball out of bounds. It is going to be point of interruption where the ball went out of bounds on the sideline. On this play, we have a tough deflection play. All right, so we have a white player, a black player, both going for the ball. deflection, deflection. Who's it out of bounds on? And we have the signal for white. So now let's go back here. And let's see if we could take a look at this deflection play a little bit slower. White, black. And on these type of plays, I'm literally saying black, off of black, off of white, off of black. All right, so now this is a tough call. We need our mechanics and our voice match the intensity of the call. So this isn't a simple relaxed arm up and point white. Since there is a 50-50, we need to use our body language. We need to use our verbal skills to really help sell our judgment here. So he really signals white, white, and this is where you want to do a second part telling the story. White ball off a number 4, black last. So these are the tough ones. This is what makes out of bounds so tough. All right, positioning, so many players, and it's a quick decision. All right, so 50-50, match your voice and signal with the intensity that call deserves. So we're going to go white off a number 4 last. Point of interruption is going to be the end line in that situation. This next play we have a block shot and a rebound. Another tough one. All right, these are not easy to officiate. All right, so the shot goes up. We have a block shot. So we're going to raise our left arm because it's going to be white ball and it's going to stay the same direction. So we want to raise our left arm here. By doing that, we are communicating with our partners. My judgment is going to be white ball. My crew now has a half second to come in and help me and save me if they can. All right, so raise the left arm as the judgment's going to be white, and then point the direction while saying white. So when we use 2 arms, we call that air traffic control. The more movement that we have with our bodies, the less believable it is. So boom, that should have been a sharp left arm raise and a sharp left arm point while yelling white. And if we need an explanation because players don't agree with our judgment, off of 15 last. White ball. All right, so correct call could have stronger, crisper, cleaner mechanics. Next play here, another rebound. Here we go. Shot goes up. Ooh, who's it out of bounds on? And whose call is it? We are in the corner of the court. So another important reason why we must raise our hand and make eye contact. All right, so now let's see what the officials call. All right, so we have both officials pointing white ball. Okay, so once again, these officials are super good. All right, at the high school, at the youth, and even the entry-level college, we can't assume everybody has the same judgment. We have to use our body language and tricks of the trade to communicate the judgment before even going up. All right, so let's talk about responsibilities. All right, so when this shot goes up, the trail official will have the shooter. So right now he is watching the shooter and we have the lead official watching the rebounders. So now as we get this rebound, all right, it is now safe to say both officials are looking at the same play. We see the black player jump a little bit higher than the white player as that ball goes out of bounds. All right, so I'll say this. When in doubt, give it to the sideline official as they have the bigger picture. The closer you are to a call and out of bounds, the harder it is to process and see it. The one farthest away typically has the best look, best judgment, because they have time and distance to view it. Anyways, since both officials can blow their whistle here, raise the arm in the direction closest you're going to point. All right, so this trail official should raise his right arm. This lead official should raise his right arm. Now both officials know they both have white ball. If one raised their left, one raised their right, this is a good time to get together, talk about what everybody saw, come out of it with one strong point, one strong voice. What we want to avoid, though, is both officials pointing a direction just in case it's opposite directions. Only one official should be pointing the direction in which the team will next get the ball to avoid that double signal. Stop the clock. Make eye contact. Raise your arm in the direction in which you are going to point. If you're the only one doing it, boom, finish it, point. And now, again, this is an out-of-bounds call. So it is not 4 designated spots in the front court. We are specifically either pointing at corner baseline or corner sideline. Very important, as coaches will have different defenses and offenses to call based on that proper location. One more play, and we're going to talk about a little philosophy where officials might pass on a foul and go out of bounds on a team. So as this play plays out, all right, so we're signaling white. And a coach might be really upset, especially the Arizona coach in this case. They might think that the guard for white, Duke, was the one who hit it out of bounds. So let's go slow motion. Is this a foul by number 2? Is this illegal use of hands moving forward, contacting the opponent, which impedes normal basketball movement? If so, I think it was a foul. I don't know. Was 0 the last one to touch it? I don't know if it was number 2 the last one to touch it, but I think it was a foul. You want to know what? Let's cut the loaf. Let's give it to white. All right. Boom, boom. White ball. And now the Arizona coach, that hit off of 0 last. Hey, coach, I could have went with a foul on number 2. I wasn't 100% sure it was a foul on number 2. I wasn't 100% sure was it out of bounds on number 2, number 0. Boom, boom. I'm going to go white. All right. Not saying the coach is going to love that judgment or love that idea, but the coach really processes it. If we call a foul on number 2 here, white's going to get the ball only, or as well still. And who knows, maybe that's number 2's 4th foul or 5th foul. We're 2:13 left in the second half. So we might be making a game management decision of passing on a I think it was a foul and going with we're going to give it to white ball. Because had I gotten a foul, it would still be white ball. So this is a philosophy game management. Don't live and die with that. That's high level of officiating. And you could only use it on 50-50 fouls followed up by 50-50 out of bounds. If everybody in the gym sees it off of white, 0, you have to give it to black, even if you missed a foul. These are on 50-50 situations, high level officiating. All right, so I'm not saying this official used that philosophy, but I wanted to talk about it because it was a good clip to talk about it. All right, if it was clearly off of number 2, boom, raise your arm, loud whistle with the same arm, point the direction of white and say white. Resumption of the play is exactly where that ball went out of bounds, which is right here. Again, this out of bounds play call is going to be different than an out of bounds play called near the lane line. All right, so very tough plays, a lot of learning points to make in this training video. If you do have questions on any of the rules, on any of the philosophies, on any of the mechanics, please use the comment box. Send us a question. Send us the what-if situations, and we'll take time to answer it. As we finish up this training tape, out-of-bounds special situations that might be myths out there. So if there's a shot over the backboard, that equals out of bounds. Once the ball goes completely over the backboard, it's out of bounds. It should be called by the trail or center, because the lead official is not watching the ball, they're watching the players rebounding. If the ball hits underneath the backboard, the sides of the backboard, and remains on top of the backboard and rolls along the top side of the backboard, the ball is still in bounds. It's got to go completely over. Shot attempt from behind the backboard equals out of bounds. A shot cannot be shot when the whole entire ball goes from the backside of the backboard to the rim. Teammate takes the ball from the thrower equals out of bounds, as we saw in that picture. Opponent takes ball from the thrower over the court of play. This is inbounds and a steal. The main thing here is the ball is over the court of play. This is inbounds, steal. Teammate out of bounds, opponent inbounds. And then ball hits overhead ceiling or structure equals out of bounds. This happens at the last second shot, at the end of the quarter, end of the half, or end of the game. This is the one time where officials might be watching the basketball. We always say, don't watch the basketball won't foul. But if it's a last long pass, last long shot up near the ceiling, we have to watch that ball, because if it does hit the ceiling or overhead structure, it is out of bounds. Thank you for taking time out with this week's training tape on out of bounds. If you have not done so and you want to join Team PSOA and officiate basketball games with us, just boom, take out your phone, put your camera over this QR code. This QR code will take you straight to our Google form. You fill out all the information in the Google form. We get you into arbitersports.com. I'll reach out to you directly to give you the next step with uniform, equipment, on-court training, self-assigning yourself to basketball games. So thank you again for taking time out with PSOA for training tape on out of bounds. And officials, remember, you're only as good as your last call.